What's going on, everybody? I am so excited to be back and making a comparison video of two cars that I love. And as you guys know, we just bought a brand new Model Y. It was made in March 2022, so just a couple months ago. But before we bought this car, for about a year and a half, my wife and I were considering, should we just go and get the Model X, pay the price, or is the Model Y better for a family like ours with 3 little children? So this video isn't about which car is better on paper. That's pretty easy to look at. This is which car is better for a family of 5 with 3 young kids aging from the age of 6 up to 9 years old. So if that's what you're looking for, stick around and watch this video. We're gonna break it down one at a time. If you have fun in this video, make sure you like the video and subscribe for more videos like this. Now, let's get into it. So first off, let's cover all the obvious stuff, such as performance, price, and all of that. The biggest question that any of us are gonna be answering is, what do I get for that extra price? And is it worth it? You've got 2 great SUVs. What am I really getting, and does it matter for that additional price? So the Model Y price comes in at $65,990 if you order it today in July 2022. The Model X, for the all-wheel drive model, basically anything other than the Plaid, is $112,090. So purely from a price standpoint, obviously the Model Y greatly wins. Next up is range, and that is also a very big one because we're gonna be using this car for road trips down from Washington to California. Nothing much longer than that, but we're definitely gonna be traveling in this vehicle, so a lot of things to do with that will be taken into consideration in this comparison. The Model Y has 318 range and the Model X 332 range. So of course, it's not a big difference, but that one does go to the Model X. Next, we're gonna do a 0 to 60 speed, which to me is really no big deal. I don't do no 0 to 60 type of driving, but they are a 1 second difference, with the Model Y coming in 1 second faster at 3.8 seconds 0 to 60. And then just like the 0 to 60 speed not having much relevance to me, their top speed is 155 in the Model X and 135 20-mile-per-hour difference in the Model Y. So those are kind of the obvious, performance type of specs, and obviously the Model Y is a much higher performance machine and it wins in every one of those categories. Next, let's get out to the car and start breaking down what truly matters when a family like mine is looking to buy a family Tesla. Now, if you're like me, you might be sitting there going, well, why in the world is this car so expensive? Over $100,000 for any type of Model X. Well, there are things about it that are actually really cool. It has a lot of these little extra features. For example, the door is automatically shutting like this. Just pull the handle, the door shuts, window slides up, and you're good to go. Open the door again like that, it's gonna automatically open. I mean, that's really cool. You have this, of course, nice heads-up display. You got a great big center screen in the middle. But where you really start to see a lot of the quality differences is in the interior. Take a look at the leather all over the dash, the stitching, everything. You can just tell it's just higher quality. It's just more expensive. The center console has little cup holders. Behind the armrest here are 2 more cup holders. You've got cup holders on cup holders. There's no question when you're sitting in this car that you're sitting in a more expensive car, a higher quality car. It screams it in almost every angle. But does it scream it for double the price? So next up is going to be the actual doors. And if you've been around Teslas much, you know that these things have these cool batwing doors. See, my question is the how slow that is annoying? Is it actually better? Would I prefer that over just opening a door like most of us do to get into the Model Y? There's no doubt about it, it's super cool and it's slick, but would I actually want that over the Model Y? And when you go back down again, you just press the button, it folds down and goes back under. And it also has a button right inside the door that you can also make it close from, your seat. I've always wondered though, what happens with these doors if you were like smashed up against another car and wanted to get in. Now this is a problem that either car would have, but let's take a look at it. So that definitely would have hit another car if it was smashed up against it and someone inside were to hit it. It didn't hit it hard. I mean, it was enough. It kind of moved me a little bit. And then of course, like I said, to close it, just press it and it comes down over top of you. This is really bizarre. You can't deny though just how absolutely cool that is. Now getting out with these doors, press the button. It's not that much slower, to be honest. And then of course, there's the whole thing of there's a lot more to go wrong with these. I don't know exactly how good the reliability of this, but it's a simple door that you just open. you know, very little to go wrong. But this whole thing has to seal. There's a ton of seal around this door. And if this gets off at all, you're gonna notice, I don't know, just more things to go wrong. So now these front doors also have a neat little feature when it comes to this automated stuff. So if you just simply take and press it there, the door automatically opens up for you. Not all the way, you still gotta push it a little bit, which is total crap. And then you can get in. And then once you're in, you do have to pull it all the way back. But I do believe there is also a setting that these will open up all of them automatically for you when you walk up to the car, although I didn't find that. Next, we take a look at this heads-up display, which is absolutely awesome. I love having this up here, and it gives you a lot of really great information. You'll see in my other car, you can add a heads-up display into the dash of your Model 3 or Model Y, but this just gives you different information. Next, let's talk about this center screen. It's obviously a lot bigger, but do I like that better? Over the time I've had this car, I've been really torn back and forth on this thought. In a lot of ways I like it, and in some ways I don't. I find it getting a little bit confusing because everything sort of stacks on top of one another. Here you got the backup camera, and underneath of that you have the music. I pull that back down, the camera pops up, pull that down again, back to music. There's a lot of steps and it kind of gets a little confusing. I mean, like anything, you can get used to it. Just like the other models, you do have the ability to see both your side cameras, which is nice, but I find that the menu option on the Model 3 and Y with the larger 15-inch screen horizontal, that already there's few options on the bottom and it's lacking some quick action, quick tap buttons down there. Well, this is obviously a lot smaller. So already you have to press this and search for more things. For example, I have my heated seats and my windshield wipers and those icons all down here below, where here you can't have them. And if you did move it all the way down here, you can't put the right seat. You can only actually put the left seat down here. But when you start getting into the menu and seeing everything on this huge screen, I mean, it looks beautiful. Certainly you would never complain about having this. But if I'm comparing it to the 15-inch screen, I would say that it wins for the maps. Now, if we get into playing games now, you're also playing that in vertical mode versus horizontal mode, which is what we're used to on things like our computers and gaming monitors. And things just look a little bit different, especially more arcade type games on this screen. Also with things like theater, for example, YouTube or Netflix, you're gonna have a much smaller screen to watch your shows on. Again, is that a huge deal? No, but it is something if we're comparing them. And the last thing I'll mention about this screen is that because it's so long, you do have times when you're looking down here at this lower section, which makes it a lot harder to see what's going on outside your window, which is a little bit more dangerous than the 15-inch horizontal screen where it kind of stops about right here, so your eyes never are actually going down this low. So one huge consideration for us as a family of 3 kids who are going to be using this Model Y or X for traveling is the trunk space. We have to be able to fit a bunch of people's luggage in there and go all the way across, to California and where we usually drive from Washington. So let's take a look at the trunk space. I'm going to be honest with you, this is kind of a joke. Now you might be saying, oh yeah, but the back seats are up. If you laid the back seats down, then you would have a big old trunk like you would with the Model Y. True. But I have 3 center seats in my Model Y, so all 3 of my kids' car seats can go into the center of the Model Y. If I lay these down to get more trunk space, what happens? I can only bring 2 kids with me on my trip. So watch this. As we fold these down here, yes, it does level out nice and flat, and this is a hatchback kind of trunk, so you do have, a bit of space here. But again, only 2 seats. So this right there, by definition, would never work for my family. And as I'm sitting here editing this video, I'm realizing that I didn't mention, I'm specifically talking about the 6-seater option here, which is the one that they gave me for my loaner. If you buy the 5-seat option, it has 3 rows, just like the Model Y, as well as if you buy the 7-seat option, it has 3 in the center row, as well as those in the back seat. So either of those options would definitely work for my family, but this model I'm comparing it to on this one, obviously it wouldn't for the reasons that I discussed. So if you just get the 5-seater, which would be the equivalent to my Model Y, which is also just a 5-seater, there's no extra cost for that. When you go to the 6-seater, it goes up to, strangely, $6,500, so the most expensive version is the one that I would never want. And then if you go to the 7-seater, it's only $3,500. So this is where I park my Model Y. Next, I want to test and see if this Model X can even fit here inside of my garage. You can see it's a pretty open garage, but I fit with about a foot behind the Model Y. Let's see if the Model X can even fit in here. So that right there is right where I stop my car, and you can see it will make it, but we got like an inch or 2 to spare. So it's possible, and of course I could have rearranged my garage a little bit to make it fit better, but I guess yes, they both fit. But now let's talk about the overall well-being of this car in general as a family with 3 kids and bikes and junk all over in their garage. These doors opening on their own, that's a recipe for scratches. I mean, this is really organized right now for my kids coming in and putting their bikes away. A lot of times they're right here alongside of the car. If you weren't paying attention and you open this up, it would easily swing and hit something. Same with these wing doors here. They could easily hit something. On the other side, it can get even tighter as we are in here working around food and stuff. I'm curious just how close this could actually get. And you can see right there, the car is about a foot away from my rack right here, and it won't even open. Another thing to consider is it hitting my racks on top of my garage, my storage and all that stuff up there. So unless you have a great big wide garage with lots of space around your car, this is going to be a constant problem. One of the downsides to the Model Y is that it does have the hatchback as well as so does the X. So I can't open the trunk inside of my garage either. They will hit the top of my garage door. So both of them have issues, but at least we can get into the Model Y. So in terms of actually which one fits in the garage better, definitely the Model Y. Now, like any Tesla, driving it is an absolute dream. It feels exactly as you would expect. High class, comfortable, it feels amazing. The one thing is though, is this mirror deal coming through my vision here. I mean, I know that all of them have that there. They all have a mirror about right there where you'd want it. However, it feels more prominent here because it's kind of stuck right in the middle of a big glass window, and like anything you would get over it, and it's probably actually better, but at least when you're new to driving the X, you definitely see it. I'm not going to say it's better or worse than the Model Y because it's just all whatever you're used to, but it's definitely a little bit interesting. Although as the driver looking up and having all this glass, I would definitely take this over the Model Y. So I would have to give the windshield to the Model X. One thing that is really cool about this car is you can adjust the ride height all the way from 8.9 inches down to 6.1 inches, which cannot be done in the Model Y, which again attests to the softer, more high-end performance and suspension that this car has. Of course, the biggest thing you notice while driving the Model X is that it has this heads-up display, and it is the same thing that we're used to having over here on the 15-inch display on our Model 3s and Model Ys. And I have to say, I kind of like my setup that I have better in my car. I mean, the thing is this thing in the middle here, all it is a map. Right now, it's just a map and everything else is center. On my 15-inch, I have all that on the right side and it allows me to do something really unique above my steering wheel in the Model 3 and Y. I have CarPlay there. I have the hand-chow pop-up heads-up display CarPlay there, which I love. I have Waze playing automatically when I get in the car. It just does so many things. I can just control so much from that, and yet I don't lose anything I'm getting here. Right here, they're just splitting it up onto 2 screens. I have all the other on 1 screen, which is great. I don't know. And then of course, there's the look and sportiness of this car, and I'm just gonna say it right now. This wins hand over hand. I mean, look at how sexy this thing is. The lines on the front of this thing are just mean looking. I mean, it doesn't look like a beached whale. The overall car just looks bigger, even though on the inside it doesn't necessarily feel it. And of course it is low, those gigantic wheels. Now let's talk about the headroom and spacing inside of here. Once I'm inside of the seat, there's plenty of room in here. Inside of here, you do feel like you have plenty of room. However, one thing I did find kind of annoying is that this armrest is constantly digging into my right arm. If I'm not just sitting here with my legs arms kind of in like this, it's constantly pressing into me. Either I have to be resting on it or I got to be resting on my leg. There's no room beside my leg when I'm sitting in the seat. And if I wanted to come out that way, not through my door, I would have to duck here because my head is kind of in this hole up here. So you definitely have more headroom and space inside of the Model Y. Because again, no big motor. But if you want the big, wing doors, you're gonna have to have this. The other thing is that my knees right now, with how this seat is naturally set, are absolutely smashed into the back of the seat. So this seat would have to dramatically go up for me to have any kind of comfort back here, which is no big deal. They can move the seat up. And yeah, getting back here into this third row, if you're a grown adult, I'm 6'1", absolutely never going to happen. However, I do have headroom. So if I didn't have legs, I would actually fit in here quite nicely. So here's the thing. I was actually quite blown away at how
little space in here actually is. I generally thought for the bigger car, the more price, all that people pay for this, that you'd have noticeably more space inside of the car. The reality is you don't. Next, let's take a look at the glass roof from sitting in the third row seat. While the front windshield does come up higher, you can see that for the rest of the car, it's very lacking compared to the Model Y. Because you have all of that mechanics and everything up there for the wing doors, or whatever you call them, you have very little glass on the ceiling. Yes, you do get a little bit over here and over here, which is nice, but come on, that full glass roof of the Model Y cannot beat it. Easy win there for the Model Y.
So I would love to have spent more time with the Model X. I only had it for less than 24 hours, but in that time I tried to use it valuably to really see what would be best for us going forward with even our next vehicle. And in the short time I had it, I definitely felt like we made the right decision in buying the Model Y and not stepping up and paying more for the Model X, and here's why. In terms of fitting the kids into the car seats, I would have purchased the 5-seat option for the Model X so I could have the 3 seats in the middle as well as all the trunk space. It would be pretty much a wash in terms of fitting car seats in there. You do get a little more trunk space with the Model X, so that is nice, but the Model Y definitely has enough for us. And we also, because of the hitch, bought a little hitch storage kind of rack for the back of it that we'll be doing a review on at some point here. So that's not really an issue. The interior of the car is obviously really nice. I mean, you got the nice stitching, the leather, the adjusting on the suspension, the ride feels great. All that stuff is amazing in the Model X. I don't miss it though in my Model Y. And with all that, it just comes down to the price. The Model X is so much more expensive, $40,000 to $50,000 more for those things. If it was $5,000, $10,000 more, I might put more value on some of those things. And one of the big sellers for me in terms of the Model Y is just the functionality of the car in general. Remember when we were in the garage and I couldn't even open up my door? You can imagine my kids trying to deal with that, trying to crawl in there and get that thing shut. Who knows what it's going to be hitting, them not putting their bikes in all the way. At least with the Model Y, the doors open the same way we're used to opening doors, so the kids aren't going to, smash them into something as easily, or at least they can open the doors without worrying about the mechanics of it not working. The extra display above the steering wheel, I mean, that's nice and all, but it's really not giving you any more information than my big 15-inch screen gives. And I love that I have CarPlay on my Tesla, and I use that all the time. Like I say, I love having Waze up there. It's brilliant. I use it every time I drive. So now that's just my opinion with having this for 24 hours. Everyone's circumstance is going to be totally different. You may see things and value things entirely different than I do or the next guy. I look at everything from a father's perspective who has 3 children that are going to be rough and rowdy in a garage that's pretty tight, full of a bunch of junk, even though that's as organized as it's been in a long time. For me, the Model Y is a perfect vehicle for my family. And I just don't know why if for my situation right now in life, would have paid more. But I am curious, those of you guys who are in the same boat as me, why did you upgrade to the Model X? What are you finding that you like? What do you not like? Always keep it in mind, you're paying $40,000 to $50,000, maybe more in some cases, more than I was, or anybody that decided to go with the Model Y. At the end of the day, these are obviously 2 incredible vehicles. Everyone who buys these are going to like them. Looking forward to hearing more from you guys down below in the comments. Don't forget, if you like this video, please take a second and subscribe, hit that like button, and leave a comment. See you on the next one.